Long story short, he ends up hacking my MetaMask. I lose nearly 10 grand in 36 hours.
At a movement.
Yeah. Let's go.
Hey, looking like he shot the ball.
That's what I like, bro.
Yeah! Me and my friend so on.
Let's go. Welcome to Talking Trophies. I'm Ravo. And we're joined by Sean in the back on the camera work. What's up, Sean? You got the mic now. You can talk. You know that, guys.
What's up?
You know, we got a special one-on-one episode 2. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, and if you're listening from the audio podcast, hit us up with the follow. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So give that a go. Today, we're joined by someone who calls himself the ballerpreneur.
Yes, sir.
It's our boy Dami. It's my first time meeting you. And thanks for jumping on Talking Trophies, guys.
Mutually, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. We had a good chat before the camera's turned on, you know. So we can just jump straight into it, man. Thanks for jumping on, you know. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, just to get the viewers a bit engaged and just an understanding before we jump into like a deep dive of what we're going to talk about, just about you, man.
For sure, man. So, yeah, Dami Okedara, a.k.a. the ballerpreneur. I'm 22 years old. I do a lot of things. I play basketball at a semi-elite level in Big V. I'm also an entrepreneur. I run Clientele Boosters Marketing Agency, Dental Marketing Gurus Agency. I'm also affiliated in the Web3 and NFT space. And I'm also a club owner, Club Culture, coming back on March 26th. So marketing, tech, and events, that's my alley. That's my space.
That's tough, man. You know, first thing, you know, I've always been saying this, if you are like a business owner or a small business owner, just hit us up, you know. Firstly, show us you're doing something. I don't want someone that's starting a business 2 weeks in, doesn't have any experience, doing something, you know. And guys, Dami, you got the experience. You've been doing this for a while, and I can see the hunger, man. And it's like, as soon as Sean showed your account to the page, we're just like, let's give this guy a sus. Let's get him on. And it's happening today, man. So we love our black businesses. Hashtag BLL. Hashtag Black Power.
Turn me up.
You know what I mean, man? Hey, what got you into entrepreneurship? I just want to know, because personally, you know, business is always something I wanted to do. You know, I'm working on my career right now, but I always want to start something on the side, getting into that business, you know, world. What got you into entrepreneurship?
Sure, man. So I have an interesting story, man. So what happened was in high school, basically I used to be a chubby kid in year 6, year 7, right? And I came from a very Christian public school. So when I went into high school, I was very nurtured and sheltered. So I come to a private school, and all of a sudden I'm one of the only black kids, and I'm like, damn, they're saying I gotta lose weight, this, that. So my outlet was actually initially just sport. So that's why the love for basketball came in. So with basketball, I started getting, you know, really better. I started becoming a lot healthier and fit, developed a lot of skill, a few years into it, started playing representative sport. And then by the time year 12 came around, as all basketball players, they want a scholarship, they want to go overseas, etc. But I came to a realization very quickly, especially as an international player trying to get into a college, things are expensive, right? Like if you want a scholarship, unfortunately, if you haven't been recruited since you were year 7 or year 8 and you haven't gone to the AIS, you have to be a really elite athlete. So I was like, okay, just in case, if I have to potentially fund part of my basketball dreams, how can I do this sustainably whilst not taking time away from my training? So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me check out this business thing. So do you guys remember Ty Lopez's YouTube ads back in 2017? The guy that used to say, "Here in my garage." That guy, right? It looks like a scammer.
Don't tell me, is he legit?
Look, I'll talk about it in just a second. So I saw his ads, and initially I laughed. I was like, this guy's a scammer, and I saw Grant Cardone stuff. But, you know, year 12 was, you know, ending, and I only got 2 interests at the time. So I was like, you know what? I'm grateful, but I really want more. I've always been a bit of a, you know, addictive personality to get what I want. So what I did was like, okay, let me look at this guy's course. So I start looking at his YouTube videos. I start looking at other self-development, personal development. You know, by the middle of year 12, I'm watching a TED Talk every single Friday, just trying to understand how these business people think, why they think the way they think, and how they're able to, I guess, create frames of thinking that are outside the box, right? Because school's not going to teach you this. Yeah, so I finish year 12. I'm like, cool. I'm interested in business. Where do I start? I actually start by creating an Instagram account because I played guitar and piano growing up. Yeah. And not many people know this. So what I would do, you know Georgia Smith?
Yeah.
I would learn her songs on guitar, and then I'd record it, and then I'd be like, okay, sweet, let me put this on YouTube so I can monetize it. And I built an Instagram following really quickly. I was like, okay, cool. But it wasn't fast enough for me.
Yeah.
I finished year 12. I'm trying to get to the States quickly. Like, I'm not trying to build a YouTube and Instagram account for 2 years.
So you're doing this all to get into college?
I'm doing this all to just have money, just in case.
You want to go to college?
What if I want to go D1, D2?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't good enough to get that attention straight away.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I'm like, this is too slow. So I actually hop in to another business venture, but I'm still very curious at this time of how social media works. So I get into network marketing. I get hunted down by like some dude that meets me at the gym, and I'm open-minded because I'm young, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, how does this work? He brings me to a meeting. I'm like, cool, this is a perfect place for self-development. So I'm doing network marketing for a year. I also pick up a retail job, my first proper job, apart from working for my dad, at YD clothing store at the Werribee Plaza.
Nice.
And I was trash. Like, I was good at selling, but like, because I was so distracted by sport and other business, they fired me within 3 months. You know what I mean? They're like, Dami, you're doing excellent, but like, you're inconsistent. You reply late to your messages on Facebook.
Yeah.
But fun fact, on the first day, I sold more than the manager. So just a little fun fact out there. But anyway.
So you got the sales skills, but just the administration stuff, you're not up to scratch because you're too focused on the basketball.
100%.
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward, I develop a lot of just personable skills and sales and communication skills and network marketing for a year. So now I'm 19, it's 2019. But I'm like, okay, you know what? I've been in network marketing for a while. I want to own my own actual business.
Yeah.
So I take one of Ty's courses because by this point I've been following his YouTube for 2 or 3 years. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me see if I can find this course on Google for free. So I search Reddit, I search page 10 of Google. I find his social media marketing course for free. I'm like, bet, say no more. So me and my little brother are coming back from a trip from Sydney from a basketball tournament. And I'm like, cool, let me suss out this course. I watched the whole 70 video course in 2 days. Like
So you
I was
binged that?
I was, because I was like, I want to win now. I want to learn this stuff now.
Yeah.
Why would
so you
I
had
wait?
the hunger, yeah.
100%, man.
Yeah.
So I took it. As soon as I land back in Melbourne, I swear to God, man, as soon as I land back in Melbourne, I don't have a website. I barely know what a Facebook ad is, but I'm like, I just took a course. I know a lot of buzzwords. Let me see how I go. So I go to Werribee and Watton Street, and I start just approaching restaurants, boutiques. Keep in mind, I have no idea what my business name is. I just know that I own a social media agency now. I just decided. So I say, hi, my name is Dami. How are you? Yeah, great. Okay, cool. Listen, I'm a social media consultant from Werribee. Curious if I can help you grow your following online. But I didn't know how to do it. I just took a course. I just knew a couple buzzwords like Instagram, followers, ads.
SEOs and all of that.
SEO. I didn't know what SEO was until 6 months after that, bro.
Fuck.
Like, I was really fresh. Basically, for 3 months, I had complete rejection. I talked to a couple hundred people. Not one person bought anything from me. In fact, I got pitched things, more so than I would actually, get a sale.
Yeah.
And then one day, a guy that saw me that pitched to me at the Werribee Plaza, because he was like doing some like insurance job or whatever. We kept in touch. He saw me at a Gary Vee event. That's where I took the picture with Gary Vee on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. He meets me there. He's like, oh, Dami, how you been? He's still doing that social media thing? I'm like, yeah, man. Like, I'm still struggling to get clients. And he's like, you know what? I'd love to give you a shot. We meet up at a Nigerian restaurant in North Melbourne. Long story short, that's my first client.
Nice.
So it's just crazy how the world works. And then after that, I had another client, and then I had another client. Then I lost all of them. And then I was like, hold on, like, I did something right
Did
here.
you lose them during COVID, or was it?
No, before COVID. This was still 2019. So all this
so this is
growth
early.
was
This is early.
This is early, man. Because clientele started July 2019.
Yeah.
I lost all of my clients by December 2019. But I was like, hold on. I'm understanding how things work. Let me just plan for 2020. So then as soon as 2020 rolled around, I was just executing ruthlessly. I was going to Starbucks, bringing my big whiteboard, planning. Starbucks actually had to kick me out once because I wasn't spending money on their drinks. I was just using their space to plan. So they politely kicked me out. And then 3 months later, man, I was fortunate enough to get in the paper just because I built so much momentum.
Yeah.
And the rest was history, man. So.
And how many clients do you have now under you for the social media agency?
I've managed. Okay, so I have two agencies.
Since that time of 2019.
Or 2020.
2020, we can say. Once you establish yourself.
How
many clients have you managed?
50 to 90 maybe.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah. But now I'm more focused on doing.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, my brother. Really do. Now I'm focused more on MRR. And what MRR is, monthly recurring revenue.
Yep.
So my focus now is having clients that are actually going to kind of stick, almost like a phone plan, that are going to stick with us for 6 to 12 months. Because don't get me wrong, like I was fortunate enough in 2020 to work with politicians.
Yep.
One of them ended up winning in Werribee, which was cool. But now we're focused on having people for the long term instead of just really big jobs that might pay me well, but they're not going to stick around for more than a few months.
Yeah. So you can just send them an invoice every month.
Yeah, and
do
it's
a
just
service.
yeah.
So, for example, you're going to do the marketing. social media marketing for that month, and you just chuck them a bill, for example. Is that something like that?
Correct. So we have systems, accounting systems in place now where I've got teams. I'm mainly, I guess, the business development manager for my company. But yeah, at this stage, we have people that will actually do the execution of the service, whether it's social media, SEO, Google Ads.
Yeah.
And we have a sales guy for our dental agency as well. So.
And how many employees do you have working with you?
So the contractors,
Yeah.
I have one employee, which is a sales guy, but I'm managing in my marketing agencies, maybe about 10 to 15 people.
Nice,
So,
man. That's good.
Yeah. But they're contractors, like...
So what, is it
Yeah.
like, are they Fiverr.com guys?
Sorry?
Fiverr.com?
No, not Fiverr. Not Fiverr.
You know what I'm talking about,
Of course,
the
man.
Fiverr.
I started with Fiverr. I started with Fiverr. and
Fiverr's
Upwork.
proper.
It's
Fiverr's
proper.
man.
Proper.
You want to start.
It is definitely proper if you want to start. I actually have nothing against Fiverr,
Yeah.
but I would be wary when it comes to specific services. I'll give you a quick example. For example, if you want a website designed, typically Eastern European countries are really, really good at the aesthetic side of things. But if you want a programmer, you actually go to India. But people have this misconception of it's India or Pakistan or Nigeria. No, but listen, for programming,
They know
it's
how to
actually
code.
really solid. So that's why I'm saying Fiverr can be fantastic if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's Upwork, or you just have a good network.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's sick, man. So that was an intense intro. That's proper, man. Like,
Appreciate it.
let me ask you this as an African brother, 1-to-1.
For sure.
Do you work with the community much, guys? Like, as in, like, clients from the community?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Dude, if it
And
wasn't...
how do you find that? Because, like, there's the stereotype, man. It's just like, you know, they're going to ask you for the discount. You know what I'm saying? I'm your people and stuff. They're going to try to lowball you with, like, a discount or something like that. And they always, you know what I always say to, like, if someone ever asks for a discount,
What do you say?
I always say that Future quote. He goes, you don't ask Gucci and Louis Vuitton for discounts, so don't ask your homeboy for discounts when
Real
he's selling
shit.
something.
Real shit. That's a fact.
I think I'm gonna be outside culture, but calling Dami, but yo, man, I'm outside, bro. Let me.
Hey, what's culture lunches?
culture?
Yo, cuz, you gonna give me a discount? Yeah, man. Like, how
100%.
does it feel working with the community, man?
Yeah, man. Well, let me tell you something. My first few clients were all from the community. Footscray,
Yeah.
Werribee,
Yeah.
North Melbourne, black people, bro. And it was tough. Sometimes it was really tough. Sometimes I would get paid months after service was delivered. Sometimes they wouldn't do their part for their service, that they wouldn't provide the correct logins.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have systems in place now to ease that. But yeah, it was tough, man.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you why I'm grateful for it, because it humbled me very early. If I had there's this saying, fast success breeds ego, slow success breeds character.
Yeah.
Right? So when I was working with the community, I had to develop a lot more emotional intelligence faster.
Yeah.
Because I was a teenager when I started in business. I'm still a kid. I just turned 22.
Yeah.
So what I realized working with the community is they're definitely going to ask for discounts. They're definitely going to try and lowball you. But as a young man in business is a reflection of your internal strength. So if you have character and you truly believe that you're offering a good service, people will pay the fee.
Yeah.
But it takes a while to build that competence and confidence in what you do. And I would say probably, to be honest, it took me maybe 2 years where I could really demand the prices that I demand, because I had the conviction in the services that I was offering. But it was definitely an uphill battle at the start. I can say that for sure.
But you do have that confidence, and I can see it from here, even just the way you're speaking, you know, like, and you do believe, and I could see it. We can see the passion in you, like,
Appreciate it.
you know, your speech, man, how you're talking about it. As a business owner, what leadership skills did you develop? Like, how did you develop these leadership skills? Bro, you're 22 years old, and you're going to business owners that are probably 40-something. Where did you get these skills from, you know, to manage a team, as well as, you know, those communication skills to talk to these clients and say, hey, this is my business, these are my sales, these are the prices. How did you develop these techniques?
Failure.
Yeah.
Failure.
What sort of failures? Could you tell us a story? Maybe you're like, well, if it's not personal, what's like your biggest failure you've
We
had?
can go, ooh.
What would you
It's a
consider
lot, man.
like the biggest
Shit.
hurdle you had to jump over?
For clientele business specifically, or just business in general?
Just business in general.
Gee. Ooh, bro, I've met some weird people, man. You meet
Yeah.
a lot of weird people.
Yeah. Come on, give us one, man.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking
give us
of-
some good content.
Nah, I got you, bro. I got you.
Give
I
us some
got
good
you.
content, guys.
Story. Okay. Huh?
You said failure before, man.
Yeah, I'm just, because there's so
Yeah.
many, I'm just so numb to it that I just perceive it as all standard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'll give you one. So there was a phase just before Rona in February where clientele boosters was picking up a lot of momentum, like 5 new clients in a month. At this time, I honestly don't even, looking back, because this was 2 years ago, nearly exactly 2 years ago, actually,
Yeah.
February 2020. I actually didn't think I was that good of a salesman.
Yeah.
I was just desperate to like get the ball rolling. So we closed 5 new clients that month. And a lot of these were restaurants in Caroline Springs, right? And they were all next to each other, right? So what happened was, I was doing good for them, doing their social media, and this was the time when I was delivering the service. So I was writing the post, I didn't have a team, etc. And what happened was basically, I thought, you know what? One of the restaurants wants a graphic design. I'm not a graphic designer, but I'll learn the skill as well. I'll do graphic design. They wanted a menu redesigned.
Yeah.
So I spent all night redesigning the menu, and it's COVID. So they're really, really stressed about making sure that sales, because they have to make sure every dollar is counted.
Of course.
And they've been paying me for 3 months at this time, so there's trust that I didn't want to break, but I did break it. Anyway, basically I try to do the graphic design, and I print it, and the daughter prints it out because I sent her the correct file format. She prints it out, and I get a call, and this old woman who was my client of 3 months, Dami! I'm like, I'm not going to mention the name. I'm like, I'm just going to say sweetheart. Sweetheart, what's wrong? Dami, it's not working. You promised me it was going to be done. You're already swearing at me. And keep in mind, I'm a 19-year-old kid. Like, I'm still new to the business. I'm thinking that I'm doing her a favor. No, I can't work with you anymore. This is bad. So she goes to tells the other restaurants that she knows are working with me how bad of a job that I did. Basically, I go to the Caroline Springs area to remedy the situation. Keep in mind, this is COVID. So my parents didn't even know this because my parents are very strict. They didn't want me leaving the house in the first few months of COVID. So I told them that I was going to go to groceries or some shit. I drive all the way to Caroline Springs. I have a meeting at each restaurant trying to remedy the situation. One of them doesn't let me in after working with me for 3 months. Because remember, you're black at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, like if you stuff up once, it's... so anyway, she's yelling at me, saying I never want to work with you again. One of the other clients that I was working with that I thought liked me the most, I did a poster for him. He said he was going to pay me, the day after. But after hearing that shit from the other lady, he didn't pay me for a job that we completed. We spent hours on it, me and my little brother, because he worked for me very briefly at that time. And he didn't pay me for a job. And yeah, man, like it was tough. Like that wasn't probably the most painful, but that was probably one of the ones where it was early enough, just after I got featured in the paper, that it was like, what are you actually made of? Because after that, I had to now learn cold calling, how to cold call during COVID. So I was cold calling to different parts of Australia, trying to generate new business. I was calling 50 to 100 people a day. A lot of them would hang up. A lot of them would laugh at me. Yeah. I've had people not shake my hand, man. I used to pitch in Turak, bro. Door to door. Imagine a black guy wearing I would wear my dad's suit, go to Turak. It was baggy on me. You know what I mean? Wearing maybe like Jordans or something.
Shout out to the old man.
Come on, shout out to my dad, man.
Yeah.
Go to Turak, try to put on my best white voice, which I think I've nailed right now. You know what I mean? But
you're holding it down. Give it up to you.
And I'll go, hi, my name is... I remember one Arab dude, he's like, who are you? And I was like, I'm Dami from Clientele Boosters. Maybe you've heard of us. Obviously, he hadn't. It was just my pitch. Yeah. Maybe you heard of us, from the local area, etc. Put my hand out. He looked at me, look at my eyes, walk off, bro. It's the game, man. I was 20. But I'm just so grateful for those failures. But there's countless others.
Do you take those stuff personally?
Oh, absolutely not. I love it. And the thing is, there's people that say, oh, I love sadness, I love failure, I love pain.
They don't.
Because the thing is, you have to reprogram your brain. Like I told you before, the thing about the detox, like you have to reprogram your brain to perceive pain as literally like a video game. The more responsibility you adopt, and if you're able to overcome it, the more you're able to level up.
Yeah.
If I'm not having any pain or any fear, but I'm not growing, I need a bit of fear. If it's too easy, I'm like, shit. Someone's going to beat me. I need pain. So I love it. I'm very grateful for it. And I mean that. And I think that's a big reason why I've been fortunate enough to grow at the rate I have. And with the more pain, I'll be able to keep going in this direction.
How do you suppress your ego? How do you suppress your ego in those situations?
Suppress your ego?
Personally, man, I think I got a bit of an ego. I'm not like ego, but I got competitiveness, which brings,
I can tell,
which develops an ego.
Yeah,
you know, sure. But not an ego like I'm the best or whatever. It's like I want to be better than this guy. For sure. You know what I mean? Like I have that, for example. Let's just say in that situation, someone didn't shake my hand personally. I'll look at them and it'll phase me a little bit. I'll be honest with you, but I get over it quick. How did you develop? Like, bro, if someone didn't shake my hand, bro, I'll look at him like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying?
100%.
How do you like get those skills as well?
Well, I'm very similar to you, man. Like I'm a young man. Like we're both young men. We definitely have egos, like 100%. Here's how I see it now, because how I saw it back then, it would hurt. But right now, this is genuinely what I feel for nearly any business venture. If someone disrespects me, because I have haters. If you're a man and you're going for something, you're going to have haters. If someone was not to shake my hand now, I feel empathy for them. I'm like, shit, this man really is stuffing up right now. You don't know, brother, like, we could be working together 2 years from now. Yeah. Me and you could be on Forbes. Like, you have no idea what you're doing. In fact, good luck. I genuinely hope that you not shaking my hand shows other people that they shouldn't stuff up like that. I feel genuine empathy that you made that mistake.
Yeah.
I wish you the best. And if he comes to culture, I'm still going to let him in. I'll give
Yeah.
him a drink. Hey, because he fucked up.
Yeah.
He genuinely I feel really bad for you. You should
Yeah.
be and the thing is, listen, if you're too much, because you can have an ego, but it's also about how you reframe your ego. I have a massive ego,
Yeah.
but I don't let it control me.
Yes.
I generate that ego to, okay, I want to achieve my potential and I want to share my potential with the world.
Yeah.
So if someone doesn't see my potential or they think I'm BS or they think, they don't believe in me, that's absolutely fantastic. I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
It's conviction. If you really believe in yourself, then you got to feel bad for people that don't see it.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't believe in you, bro, I believe in this podcast.
Yeah.
I was telling you guys, I looked you guys up on Google. I looked you guys up on
Yeah.
YouTube and Instagram. You guys, if you think about it, if people don't believe in you now, it's like they're not investing in Bitcoin.
100%. We're the
You're an
We're the most upcoming podcast. We just got to work on the quality. Quality's moving up, but on that low budget, we ain't getting them government
100%.
grants. We're
100%.
not taking no shortcuts. We're not
No
taking them
shortcuts
government
around here.
grants because we're not sellouts. We say what we want to say. We bring on black entrepreneurs.
Turn
like
me
we
up.
want to do.
Turn me up.
You know what I'm saying?
Sir.
We lift our community, but we don't need your grants.
Sir.
We don't need your charity.
Sir.
Because we're doing it for us, man. You know what I'm saying?
Turn me
We're
up.
gonna go the hard way. What are you gonna say, Shad? I know you're gonna say. But at the same time, man, if he's want to give us a
I mean,
bit
if
of
you wanna
money,
give him a grant,
Jack
it's
us
not
the bucks.
It's not gonna be yeah, 100%.
Jack us the bucks. Hey, I never say no to $1, but hey, I'm not selling my values. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I love it.
I
know?
got a question for Dami. Speaking a lot about community, uplift community, and of course, you're going outside your limits by going to different businesses and asking for collaborations and stuff.
Sure.
And talking about going outside of our communities, and it's good to have community support. And as you're doing by hiring people from the community and stuff to be part of your business, did you feel like any challenges that came from within your own community as well?
Repeat that last part, so
Did you experience any challenges from people from your own community?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
No, I love that question. Because the thing is, this is sometimes not the thing that's discussed enough. Because we want to, when it comes to community, but you know how it is when you're a black person, you want to keep black issues away from the public as much as you can and resolve them internally.
But the thing is, if you don't ever take them out in public,
right.
it never gets resolved. That's the issue.
Dude, you're so right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, personally, you gotta message them. Do it in private. Correct someone in private. Celebrate them in public.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
It's facts. It's
100%.
facts. But yeah, look, definitely, because sometimes, again, especially if they know that you can add value, they'll try to squeeze you for all you're worth without giving you a dime for it. Yeah. But look, at the end of the day, I don't hold any resentment because, again, it comes down to the self-respect. Me now, I just wouldn't work with them. I'd be like, look, I appreciate and love you, but this is just not going to be mutually beneficial. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
But back then, I guess I had that people pleaser tendency because I was still trying to build the business and a reputation before I moved out to the city where, every client, I need to work with every single person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was times when I'll do things for free, do things for... I used to charge maybe like $197 for something for a service that might charge grands now, back then.
Yeah.
And people knew they were finessing me.
Yeah.
But they're not going to tell you because you're 19.
Yeah.
So, the community definitely at times did, try to take advantage. But I can also say the opposite. There were people that raised me up,
100%.
that would purposely put me out. There was one member of the TEDx Point Cook founder. He's a Nigerian man. He's featured on SBS. He saw something in me. He actually connected me to a few people that gave me that propeller in the Western community to help me with my first few politicians.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for those people as well. But
Yeah.
you can't have the yin without the yang.
That's the thing too. There are advantages. Even us, for example, with this community, like our community lift us up. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it was the community at the same time that tried dragging us down. But we don't fall. We always move up. And I think the best thing to do is learn from the bads and take advantage. Embrace the goods.
Sure.
Like for example, there's people that share our stuff constantly and stuff.
Right.
And that's, to be honest, like someone commented on the thing that like, bro, you're the most underrated podcast.
Absolutely. These guys are the most underrated podcast.
They say we're the most
100%.
100% appreciate that, Kaz. We're they say we're the most underrated podcast. But, Kaz, I'd rather stay underrated and have people appreciate us genuinely than have people that just celebrate us just for the sake of, we're just celebrating them for the sake of it, these guys are jumping from our community. And, Kaz, you know what I'm going to do just before we jump over to the next topic?
Turn me up.
I looked a bit brassy. But, hey, you know what they say? They say black people are the only people that look good with glasses indoors.
I mean, they're probably not wrong.
Because you look sharp with them. Hey, you look sharp.
We look sharp. You feel me?
You haven't taken your glasses off since. I haven't seen this guy's eyes yet since he's come in the house. See, he's coming in the house.
I
But hey,
mean-
we're talking, you know, I was going to switch over to the next topic, but I had to chuck on the glasses for this topic, you know what I mean? Tell us a little bit about culture, man. You know, shout out to the boys, Omar and Luca, that used to run it.
For sure. Shout out to Omar and Luca, for
You
real.
know, I love those guys.
Original
too,
founders, man, for real.
Yeah, those are the bros. I love those guys, man. Shout out to them. What's going on with culture now? You guys are taking over that scene. You're taking over the name, bro. You're dropping NFTs. You're launching soon. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. So culture is for us, by us. That's our slogan. And look, it's just a place where we can collab kind of the people, the creative scene, the street scene, people like us, right? And we can unite it to luxurious places. Culture used to be held at Crown, and to get the Crown facility, which is, again, a massive shout out to Omar and Luca, is not an easy task at all. So, culture's coming back bigger and better. We're going to be the first digital club in the Southern Hemisphere. And what I mean by digital is we have our own NFTs in which people that win pretty much the free NFT giveaway will have free access to culture all year long, as well as, I think, VIP booths, culture sneakers as well. Custom designed culture sneakers worth $500 a piece. You'll get it for free. But yeah, like culture's coming back bigger and better. March 26th in North Coburg, the Industry. It's Culture North, and it's going to be an amazing night. But culture, guys, is just it's a really, really, really unique vibe, especially with the whole events scene really taking over in the last few years. You know, these monthly events, the Black Cellas, the Pine Indigenous, etc. Culture, in my opinion, will be the best event in Australia.
But what got you into that, man? You went from doing social media agency,
For sure.
having meeting with clients, to culture, man. Like,
What's the switch,
and
right?
you call yourself the ballpreneur, you know what I mean?
Sir,
And that certifies it. But what got you doing that? Jumping from,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, doing social media businesses to like a more informal business, the entertainment industry.
100%, man. Great question. Initially, I was actually opposed to getting into it because I didn't want to be distracted.
Yeah.
What happened was I was involved in the launch of a club called Club Sacred back in 2019. Does that ring a bell for you guys? Club Sacred?
I'm not really into like the club scene like that, to be honest. You know what I mean?
No worries.
Tell us a little bit about it.
You heard? Yeah. So Club Sacred, my homeboys ran it, and I just helped a little bit with like kind of the planning, kind of the marketing funnel, but I didn't do much. But I was exposed to just the amount of hours involved in it. And even though I was not one for a weekly club event, I was one for the networking.
Yeah.
Right. So because of my marketing and, you know, clientele boosters and dental marketing gurus, and me being in the tech space and involved in a couple NFT projects and startups, the network I had by the time I moved out to the city was relatively strong. So one of the other owners who was with Omar and Luca in the beginning, he reached out to me because he was a clientele boosters client. He's like, "Hey, Dami, what's up? I'm thinking of reopening culture. Do you want to run it with me?" I was like, you know what, let me think about it. And, you know, within a day, we were up and running, talking about meeting up, getting things done, hopping on Zoom calls, getting things done and planned. And for me, the main sticking point was I can network with people like you guys. I can network with black people that are switched on, with creative people that are switched on. Because without revealing too much, man, the brilliance about being in marketing is marketing's everywhere. I've got different startups that I'm planning to launch end of this year that are in the creative scene that no one knows about.
Yeah.
Mainly people overseas know about it because I've got a lot of NDAs involved, etc.
Yeah.
But I want to start building really, really solid networks in the creative scene. And I honestly felt there will be no better way to do that than without culture.
100%, man. And what's the setup of it, man? What is it going to be? Is it like a chill? Is it a day thing, a night thing? What's going on? What days is it on?
Sure. So it was initially going to be a day party. And it is still going to be one somewhat more of an evening party. It's going to be 6 p.m. to 1 p.m. or 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But we're also going to have a culture after party, which we're just tying up the loose ends of. It's going to be on Saturday, the 26th of March. And the reason why we're doing an evening/day party is because there's a lot of events happening weekly, you know, a lot of cool clubs that are happening in the city, Chapel Street, as well as Fitzroy, all good and happy. But for us, we really want people to miss us enough that when they come back, it's like a whole family's coming back together.
Yeah.
Because the people that went to culture in 2018, I was cuffed back then. I was in a relationship, so I wasn't trapping like that. You know what I mean? But like back then, people still to this day have met this guy. He tried not to laugh, but he like,
you said trapping like that, yeah.
But anyway, we can talk about that later if you want. But anyway, like people still to this day talk about how amazing culture was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So that left them impact. So that's why we have things like the shoes, which is why we have things like the NFTs, because you want to leave a mark.
Yeah.
That way, 10 years from now, when you're like, remember how awesome culture was? I still have those sneakers in my room. I'm passing it to my children.
Yeah.
I still have that NFT that's storing up value. Now it's worth X amount of money because I was part of culture as an asset, not just culture as a club or an event. So we're really giving, I think the bridge that culture's doing is we're giving people almost a piece of the pie, intellectual property-wise, to the brand. There's also culture merch, culture tees. So we're just turning it up a notch, and I'm excited to do so.
Well, big ups to you, man. Congrats on that, man. And good luck with all of that, too.
Appreciate it.
It's a bit of a hot topic, man.
Go
But,
for it.
I like to take my hot takes, man.
Turn me up.
Black clubs and stuff, they do have that image. Do you know what I mean? What are you doing to assure that these events are going to be fun, safe? And because I'm not, people, they like to jump around and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. There's issues sometimes, you know what I mean?
There's
In the
definitely
past,
issues,
there's fights, blah, blah, blah.
100%.
That ruins the night. And it ruins the impacts on the community.
1,000,000%.
For black people throwing events because, like, they go to the club, the event places, and they tell them, hey, we're throwing an event. As soon as they say we're doing an event for black people, hip-hop, nah.
They get scared.
They say, nah, we're not doing it, you know?
For sure.
And, hey, I don't blame them at the same time because there is that risk factor. What are you doing to ensure that culture is a safe environment, a welcoming environment? And you know what I mean? To tell those, to get that crowd that they're
Under
going
control.
out, because some people generally go out and they don't have good vibes on them.
Real.
You know what, Kaz?
Real.
You know what I'm saying?
Real.
What are you doing to avoid that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So that was a big focus of ours this year, especially because of COVID.
Yeah.
Right? So that's an added layer of us being, protective. So the reason why we went ahead with the industry venue is because the security protocols are top notch.
Okay.
Really, really high level.
Yeah.
Crown was really good, but even Crown, when there's other events happening simultaneously, it's a little bit easier to get lost in the source. No disconnect to Crown, though. Crown is a fantastic venue.
Yeah.
But we just felt with a relaunch, because of how much emotional investment people had into culture, we figured it would be best to do it at a place where we know security is going to be incredible and outstanding.
Yeah. And what's the policy on that? You know what I mean? Just to avoid even the violence and stuff. Just to avoid that. What's your policy on that? Because one good thing people are doing is selling tickets before the shows. They sell tickets before the night.
Absolutely.
For example, like Rhythm and stuff, and even Trujillo, I think. So I just started finding out about Trujillo recently too, man. They're doing their things proper, and like these guys have tickets before. And
Absolutely.
people that are buying tickets before the event are not going to the event to ruin it.
Absolutely. No, culture is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So we've been selling tickets for about 2 weeks.
Nice.
So that is a layer of protection. But the thing is, man, let me tell you something. If people want trouble, they'll find trouble.
Yeah.
So the tickets, even though it may put a Band-Aid, people can rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
So for us, at the end of the day, how much faith do you have in your security? And how difficult is it for trespassers to enter?
Yeah.
In Fitzroy, you can finesse a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have a big enough squad of people. In North Coburg, in a massive venue, like our venue, brother, when you come to culture and you come to the VIP space, you'll get what I mean. The venue we're using, bro, is almost like a mini, almost not concept, but it's like a mini event space.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to just force it.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So everyone that's coming to culture, you're guaranteed a good and safe night. That's a fact.
That's perfect, man. I think it was something we needed to talk about.
100%. And I'm
I
happy
think
you addressed that.
And I think no one talks about it. That's why.
It must be talked
You know
about.
what it is? Because
Yes.
people don't want to talk. Sometimes, you know how we said black problems that are happening in the black community, we like to keep it internal. We don't make it public. But the fact that you're talking about it and ensuring, this is going to be a safe event, that's the most important thing. And I think even for other club promoters and stuff, like, for example, like even Rhythm and stuff, how I mentioned them before, they try their best to ensure that it's going to be a safe event. And most times, like 90% of the time, it's safe. And from they do like good security, pre-sale tickets and stuff like that. So shout out to them. And like seeing you now, bringing culture back and having that approach that you guys are like, yo, this is security, this is our first priority.
Absolutely.
Make sure it's safe and stuff. Big ups to you for doing that, man. So that's tough.
Appreciate it.
And I also want to mention, I really love the fact that you mixed your skills in social marketing, all that stuff. Your background is when you studied and like it doesn't have to be uni, but when you studied yourself, you learned in marketing and coding, all that stuff. And you're doing it and trying a different venue, in clubbing scene and doing culture and NFT. That's very different. I don't think anyone's done that before.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, and that's something that I think would be a game changer for sure, man.
I appreciate it, man. I'll repeat it. First digital event in the Southern Hemisphere. So you guys got to pull up,
Say
man.
it loud and proud, man.
First digital event in the Southern Hemisphere, man. Tell me.
Hey, that's tough, man. You guys, the thing, you know what? It's still gonna be a learning experience too.
100 million
It's gonna work, You know what I mean? And even if it doesn't work, you're still learning. And then the next event you throw is going to be even better.
You already know.
Do you know what I mean? But the thing
100%.
is, most places they're going to be probably throwing the standard things. They're not trying new things. It's not going to take them to the next level.
No,
but the fact that you guys are doing something new that's out of the bro, who heard of a digital event? You know what I mean? Like
100%.
no one heard of that. And
100%.
having NFTs and stuff for event, taking it up to the next level. And you're embracing the new. A lot of people like to settle and stay in the comfort zone, as you said. Comfort is a drug. Exactly. So big ups to you with that. We're back after a quick water break. We had to take a breather before we jump into the second part. Make sure you guys subscribe. The vibes. Make sure to follow. Yeah, the Ballerpreneur.
Turn me up.
Dami is on Instagram. We'll put his at here. You can check him out, and he has all his links for all his businesses that he's doing. So give him a sus. So we'll just continue on with the interview, man. It's not even an interview anymore. It's a podcast. We'll just call
It's
it
a
a
vibe,
podcast
man. You guys are creating a vibe.
Yeah.
But people ask us like, what I was telling you before. We don't know what to say, like an answer, man.
Yeah.
We didn't have a set answer for us. What do you guys do, bro?
What do we do, man? We just have fun, bro. Like we just enjoy ourselves, bro. Like one day we do interview, one day we do thing. I think it's more. I don't know. Like right now I'm vibing. We're vibing.
We're just vibing, bro. We're talking the way we were talking before the camera came on.
Yeah. So I'm just like, you know what? Let's just this would have been an interview. If it was an interview, it would have been 20 minutes. But I'm like, let's just make this a podcast.
100 million%.
Kaz, you know what? A lot of people are into it. It's the big thing, and you got a bit of experience in it. I've been doing it a bit too, man. Like earlier on, the NFTs, bro.
Yes.
So culture's doing NFTs. Okay, that's crazy.
Yes,
Never heard a club doing a NFT. What got you into NFTs, man? And let's just say for our viewers that don't really know it and they just keep hearing it on their TikToks, NFT, this, NFT, that. Tell us a little bit about it, man. Like, what's going on with that? What's going on with the space?
Sure. So NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. Basically, it's one of a kind, right? So it's proof. It's verifiable proof of a transaction. So the reason why NFTs are so popular is because people are having less and less faith in fiat currency. And fiat currency is paper currency because people are having less faith in the government, especially after coronavirus. Governments all around the world are printing money, manipulating money, etc. That's why the stock market's going through a lot of issues as well. So as crypto gets bigger and people move more toward digital currencies, when the crypto market gets affected, people store their funds or their money in NFTs because NFTs are a great storage of value digitally. But what got me into NFTs, honestly, I'm still quite young to the space. I started in crypto, which is, I guess, the mother of NFTs, in December 2020. So actually, December 2020, so not that long ago at all. But what happened was I had a very, very successful friend, already multi-millionaire, and he's like, Dami. I was like, what's up? He called me. Get this right now. Get this coin. I was like, why? And he just told me to do it. I was like, all right, bro, I trust you. And then he started educating me. It's like, bro, wait, hold on. This looks crazy. And then after every month we had calls, he educated me. And then 4 months after learning from him about how crypto works, because I was just as confused as maybe some of you guys are watching. I was like, there's an RSI indicator. What's Binance? What's Solana? What's Ethereum? What's an NFT? I was still like, everyone's new to this space. Even experts are maybe 5 years old in the space. So everyone's learning. Please don't feel, as if you should know X amount. Everyone's still fresh to it. But how I stepped from cryptos to NFTs was, I'm sure everyone here has heard of Gary Vee, right? Yeah. So that nigga kept talking about NFTs, V friends. Yeah. But at that time, I was like, I don't want to dump exuberance or large amounts of money into something that I'm still learning about and fresh to. I'm still building my business. I just moved to the city at the time. So it's like, I'm not trying to put heavy money or even little money, to be honest, at that time. I'd rather do it in stock, something reliable, right? Yeah. Like a mutual fund. But I was like, you know what? I've been listening to Gary for years. I'll take a chance. So what happened was I put some money in the MetaMask, which is like a digital wallet specifically that bridges the gap from crypto to NFTs. So it's like the middle ground.
Exactly. The Fox, guys.
Exactly.
I love MetaMask. I think MetaMask is the most safe one, man. I traded from Phonatic. I used to be on Phonatic at the start, and I switched to MetaMask.
Oh, okay.
MetaMask is the best one, I reckon. They're the safest one.
Interesting. I have an unfortunate story with MetaMask. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I'll tap into that after. I'm not trying to scare you guys, but I'll touch on that in a sec. Yeah. But yeah, in April, I tried copying one of Gary's V friends, and I was still fresh, so I completely stuffed up the transaction. Luckily, it wasn't as much money that I lost. But I lost a bit of money, so I was like, okay, cool. I got burnt, but I stuffed up the transaction. Couldn't retrace it. Standard. A few months down the track, I learned more and more and more. Yeah. My network expands, and basically, me and a couple, again, super successful people from the ages of, say, 23 all the way to 35. Some of them are already millionaires. I was like, okay, let's all come together on a Zoom. Let's think of ideas that we can create for an NFT game / collectible. We all came together, put our heads together, and we came up with the full cool concepts. And basically, since October last year, we started working on a collectible / gaming NFT game called Meta Engines, which is due to release probably in the next 2 months or so, which has been exciting and super fun. But yeah, that's my general NFT journey. Yeah, I'll quickly explain the story that I had with MetaMask.
Yeah, tell us a bit about that,
man. So this is a bit tough. Basically, it was September, October. And, I built a lot of confidence in the NFT space. I'd messed around with it, understood how to create it. I even started learning programming, man. So I know how to do 3D, creations and stuff like
Python or Java?
Java. I use 3.js. So it's basically 3D Java.
Yeah.
I put a fair bit of money into MetaMask, and I'm ready to just go on NFT spree. So I'm calm, I've been working, I'm ready to go dummy. And I go dummy, and basically I go on this website. I thought it was a pre-mint sale, so I pre-mint it. And pre-minting basically means you have access to a catalog of NFTs before they go public. So I'm thinking that I'm purchasing it, put the money in. The transaction doesn't go through. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm
so you're checking these out in Discord? You're getting your information from Discord, right?
The Discord. It was all...
It's all on the Discord,
it seemed all super legit, right? Which is why guys always triple check every single thing. Long story short, I find out there's one character missing on the site after I make the transaction, but I'm like, you know what? Look, if I did get finessed, that's okay. I was only trying to mint 2, standard. So I go back to the Discord to complain, this happened. Maybe they can help me recover it, maybe they can't. It was a loss, but nothing crazy. I was ready to lose it. This is where it gets worse. In the Discord, they had 3 colors for the support channel, right? Next to each other. One was blue, one was orange, one was red. I picked the orange one, right? But all of them said the same thing. But the other 2 were taking a while to respond. So I was thinking, maybe they were dodgy or something. Or maybe they were just, whatever, international time. The orange one responds quickly. He's like, yeah, this is what happened. I found a transaction. And it was my transaction. So that means he must have had connections to the page that, I allegedly or potentially got finessed on. Long story short, he ends up hacking my MetaMask. I lose nearly 10 grand in 36 hours. Boo! So...
And then what happened? Did you end up recovering it?
Absolutely not. I tried. I was bro. For 6 hours,
you must have been punching the air.
Well, listen, man. Listen, I was thinking of getting mad.
I know it's been a while, man. Don't try to act calm.
I'm not trying to act calm. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something, man.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's a painful.
8 to 10K. Yeah. But listen, I'll tell you something, man. Listen, the way I saw it, man, it was shit. It hurts. But you know what I did that night, bro? I swear to God, this is what I did. I called my friend, the one that got me into crypto, the one that was ready. I was like, can you help me do this? And he tried for 2 hours, and he just couldn't help me. So I was like, you know what, man? Let's go out tonight. It's cool. We went out. We still went out clubbing then. I said, fuck it. Why would I? I lost. Life has to go on.
Life has to go on, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm still going to go to the club, meet a pretty girl, have fun with my boys. Why am I going to be down in the dumps because I lost money? It's lost. I'll make it back. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm a hustler. It is what it is. I'll figure it out.
I think I had a similar experience, man. I had 100K worth of Dogecoin, and I sold it at 9K. I sold it at 9K because I'm like, it's going to dump. Everyone's going to dump it, and I just let it go because I bought it 2 weeks. I bought it. So Elon Musk made it. I was on Reddit, and I saw and then I saw a tweet saying Doge, and I'm like, oh, Dogecoin. Let me go suss it out. Anyways, I put 1,000 or something into it. Anyways, at one point I had $100,000 worth of 100,000 Dogecoins.
That's crazy.
And he went up to and I had 110,000, sorry.
110,000.
And he went up to and then at April, I think when it had that crazy pump, it went up to 94 cents.
That's
so crazy. I could have sold it, would have made 100K.
Yeah.
And I settled for the 9K. I don't know. But the thing is, bro, 9K in one night, but I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I cashed it out because it was a crazy pump.
I get it.
And what happened was I was buying GameStop at the time.
Yep.
Remember the GameStop issue?
Absolutely.
So one of my coworkers hit me up. He's like, hey, bro, I'm buying GameStop. It's going to be jumping soon.
Yeah.
Get it. And then I'm like, all right, sweet. And then Robinhood did that little blockage on everyone.
Yes.
So what happened was, and then I'm like, you know what? I was on the phone with one of my friends. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm going to buy some Dogecoin. And I'm like, let me put 500 in. This is 1 a.m. at night on a Wednesday. So I had work the next day. I'm like, I put 500 in. Let me put another 500 in. And I just left it overnight. And I just woke up the next day. I'm like, bro, it's 9K. He said it had 9.4K or something. What? cash out. You know niggas with money, man.
I
Hey,
get
when
it,
you see
bro.
money, it's like,
I
cash
get
out.
it. You just
I
want to
cashed
you want to see
out.
that green, man.
I cashed that out, man.
For
and
sure.
then I bought some more and then cashed it out again, kept flipping it until it stopped. And then I started making it started going down. So I was just losing a bit of money doing it.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, bro, if I held it until then, I would have had 100K
Made
worth of Doge.
six figs. Tough.
But it is what it is, bro. Like,
Yeah, bro.
My boy, till this day, still tells me, he's like, bro, because I showed him like the screenshot of all the transactions. He's like, cuz you sold 100K worth of Doge, bro. Like you could have had 100K right now. And then I'm like,
And you could have flipped
comes
that into a
money.
bill. I feel you,
Bro, and then I could have just flipped it into Shibu because I bought Shibu too
Yeah,
when he went up as well.
For sure.
So, and then I'm just like, it is what it is, man.
It makes you a man, bro. You have to go through. Dude, you're 24, I'm 22, 21. Like, this is the perfect time to make these errors.
Yeah.
Because your financial acumen just stacks and stacks and stacks. By the time we're all 30, bro, like, bro.
But by then you got kids. You know what I mean? For example, let's just say you're married kid, man.
Right.
That's someone depending on you.
Right.
You can't lose money, bro. You got to pay bills. They got school stuff. They got
For sure.
food. You can't lose the money, bro. Right now, bro, I lose money because if I go dead broke right now
Oh, it doesn't matter.
and lose everything, bro, I'll just move back with my parents.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know
No
what I'm
shame
saying?
in
I
that.
go back home. I don't care.
Yeah,
It is
no
what it is.
shame in that.
Restart.
100%.
Go again.
Rebuild,
You know,
bro.
but like,
fail as much as you can now that you're
Yeah.
young. Take risks, man.
and I
Take
think,
risks.
bro, you're doing business and stuff. I think for our viewers, bro, if you haven't even tried anything, give something a go. Whether it's a hobby or something, just try doing something right now. If you're in your 20s, give it a go. If you're in your 30s, give it a go.
100%.
Just try doing like something that steps you out of your comfort zone. Whether you make money or not, start a hair business or something. Sell hair wigs or something.
Yeah.
Sell clothing. Just give something a go because you're at that age right now where you're young. You can make the mistakes. Who cares if your friends take the piss out of you? Your friends aren't doing anything.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's like
100%.
it's always the people that aren't doing anything that have the most to say. You know?
Absolutely. And to add to that, when you're young or whenever, but always work on developing high income skills. And high income skills usually revolve around communication, right? Because if you can establish very strong, firm foundations of high income skills when you're young, it's a lot easier to transition into different industries. I started with marketing and sales at 18, right? And now like it was so easy for me to get into Web3 networks. You know what I mean? And a year and a bit ago, I had no idea about crypto. And now people come to me for NFT consulting. So like, if you start with communication, sales, copywriting, storytelling, producing, designing, web creation, like just skills that people can't be bothered to do. Programming is a huge one, but skills that people can't be bothered to do, but very monotonous and boring, you will be rewarding yourself and thanking yourself 10 years in advance in ways you can never imagine. So
Programming's
that's
insane,
a great point.
man. Programming is insane.
Oh, my days.
I tried doing it. I signed up to a Python course.
Yeah.
Dude, no, this is not for me.
Bro, it's tough.
I think because I was doing a lot of stuff at the time. I had
Gotcha.
a lot of workloads and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like studying and stuff. It was
Sure.
a bit too much for me.
Sure.
But programming is insane, and like the stuff you can gain from that, even doing like contracting work, freelancing, it's crazy. I think I'm gonna jump back onto it soon. I might even try finishing a small course
Absolutely.
and then do some practical stuff. You know?
Absolutely.
I do have an older brother that does software development and stuff, and he's been drilling in my head. He's like, bro, just learn it. Just do whatever you can. Just try to get that practical experience.
Absolutely.
Because even at work, man, it can help you out. Like, bro, even the simplest jobs, they'll be like, there's little programs you can do to make your job easier, and you can pick it up. Even like, for example, if you go to your businesses, for example, the ones you're helping with the clients, you can actually help them. You're like, hey, yo, let me set up this quick setup to, like, for example, to do this task easier. Or you can even, for example, if you knew programming well with your like clients, you can do the whole register. You know, the register from the front. Set up a programming that takes in all the stock that comes in, stock that comes out, tells you your financial performance, what's product selling, what product isn't. Even if they're doing like, for example, a restaurant, it can tell them like, this is your most popular dish, this is your most unpopular dish. Maybe, and then if, for example, if that unpopular dish pops up for 3 months, it's like, hey, let's remove this product from our menu, let's put something in new.
Yeah.
And that can improve the performance of a business too, just from programming.
For sure.
So it's a crazy skill, man.
Programming is definitely, programming is P, guys. I'm telling you, like, get into programming, man.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I wish I started younger, but I'm still young. That's what I'm saying. Majority of the people that are watching this, everyone in this room as well, are so young. Start now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
That goes to like something I've been trying to ask for a while. Something that I personally struggled with was like the thing. Even though we say we're still young and stuff, it was like the age, man. I felt like each year I didn't achieve something. I didn't like leave something behind. I felt like, bro, what a waste of a year. And I feel like, bro, am I getting too old? You know what I mean? And like, what's your advice to someone who feels like, bro, you know, it's too. No, you know what it is, yeah.
I do.
Someone that feels like it's too late, or like it's too late for me now to try and do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Simple. Better late than never. I don't want to go to the grave of regret.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Period.
You want to be fucking. you want to be 80? Freaking. Oh, I wish. Nah,
Yeah.
I'd rather be 22. I'd rather be 22, starting late when 17-year-olds started. Be embarrassed for a year, then get on it.
Bro, it doesn't even matter.
I'd
man,
rather,
your
like-
age,
And the
bro.
thing, and I also say this, like, everything was new at some point. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everything was new at some point, right? The first girl you talked to was new. Then you develop confidence. Now you can do it. You know, the first friendship that you made was a new friendship. It was awkward. Now you guys are used to each other. Everything was new initially, right? Get used to being uncomfortable. Make that
Yeah.
comfortable. Because if you're not, if that's a habit young, and by young, in 2022, to be honest, I would still say young is probably up to 40. Like, you know, I know how Gary Vee talks about, like, you know, if you're 40 or young, but I actually kind of see it. Like, I have people in my team for some of my businesses that are 40. Like, I understand more, having been in the space for a while, what youth is like. You know what I mean? All of us are going to be 40 one day, and we're going to feel like we're still young.
Yeah, for sure.
So don't put too much emphasis on the age. Put more emphasis on what would you enjoy your time doing, right? And work towards that. Make that your North Star.
Yeah.
And if you have a direct North Star that you're walking towards every single day, you'll sleep better as well. But I think where the issue is people don't have a strong North Star, so they try to find it in other people's perception of them.
Yes.
And that will always have you in a loop which you can never escape, a mousetrap. And that's how you end up depressed. That's how you end up anxious, and you'll never escape that velocity.
I think even like with me, man, I have that similar experience. I'd say, like, I don't know what I want. I know I want to do something for myself. I know, like, I want to start something, but I don't know exactly what I want to start. Do you know what I'm saying?
I get it.
So my goal, end of the day, I like consulting. Like, I like giving advice, helping people out, build something. So that's probably the end goal. But I want to do stuff to gain the skills to get there, for example.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that are watching that don't even know. Like, for example, I have this idea of consulting in my head, but there's people that don't even know what they're good at. And I think that's a lot of people, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
I agree.
Especially with social media in this modern day. You're seeing 100 people, like, as influencers, this, that. You're seeing
100%.
everything pop up on your face.
Yeah.
And you just like, bro, I see people that are millionaires that are 24. Billionaires, bro, that just bought, like, for example, Bitcoin and stuff, and they just balled out somehow.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, I'm 24. I'll just say, let's just say hypothetically me. I'd be like, I'm 24. I don't have anything. I barely have a job. My degree's not, like, I'm not really interested in my degree, you know? What would you say, for example, to find your passion? What would you do? What would you do if you were in that situation?
Take risks.
Yeah.
Try different things. Try multiple different things. After I broke up with my girlfriend, start of 2019, I used a lot of, this was 6 months before I started Clientele Boosters. I used majority of that year putting myself in uncomfortable new situations. Like, I'm introverted. People think I'm hella extroverted. I'm actually introverted, right? But I would go to TEDx events. I was the youngest there. I'd go to book launches. I'd go to random things. Meditation, like, I was the only guy. I was just random stuff. I just wanted to learn. Go out into the world and learn things. I'd still hoop. I would just test things. And I was fortunate that I ended up starting with Clientele Boosters. But I had to test a bunch of other things. I started with the YouTube thing that I mentioned where I was playing the music. Then I did network marketing. You know what I mean? And I'm not really a big fan of network marketing, but I'm grateful that I learned all that I learned from it. But, like, I tried different things for a few years before Clientele Boosters was the thing. And then Clientele Boosters still took a few years for me to have a brand. By my definition, I'm content and grateful with where I'm at. But in my opinion, I'm definitely nowhere near as successful as I know I will be one day. So for me, it's like I'm just getting started, right?
Your beliefs.
And the thing is, I think people need to focus after they've figured out by testing different things what they like. Find out where you're willing to explore your potential the most. You know what I mean? Like, for me, the ballerpreneur. The reason why my handle, my brand now is the ballerpreneur is because I want to explore my potential not only with business but in basketball. But I'm be honest with you guys. Hypothetically speaking, if I play in the NBA in my early 30s and late 20s, I already know I wouldn't be in the NBA for that long, because I know once I've ticked off a few goals in the NBA or once I've ticked off a few goals in a certain industry, bro, I'm on to the next. What if I do entertainment? What if I want to be a rapper? What if I want to own a record label? What if?
Give it a go.
Each decade. Like, I'm 22. If I've done this much at 22, of course I'm going to we're humans. We're all multifaceted creatures. Don't
Yeah.
box yourself in. But the only way you're gonna know what you're willing to chase, potential-wise, is by trying various things.
Yes, 100%.
So start with that, and then isolate, develop skill and mastery in one thing. Put in them 5,000-10,000 hours, and then after that, go to the next thing. But you have to develop the mastery in the first thing. And it took thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of sales calls and mistakes and failures that I still do to this day that have helped me propel to where I am in that industry.
How would you kill, let's just say on that, there's another factor that stop people besides taking risks. It's an embarrassment.
Oh yeah.
People are embarrassed to say I'm doing this or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, bro, even me, I remember at the start, I wasn't embarrassed, but it's just like, I didn't really want to talk about it, you know? Like, for example, people would come to me. It's like the first thing they'd be like, talking trophies, you know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, and because it was such a culture shock from where I'm from, like that local area.
No, I get it.
Like, talking trophies, you know?
Sure.
And of course, I loved, guys, if you like, I'm like, yo, thanks for watching, you know?
Appreciate
For
it.
whoever watches it, I appreciate them. Like, guys, I'll sit down and the first thing I'll do is like, I know who watches, like, and let's just say if I see someone that really watches, and I know because I can see like I can see the likes and stuff, who's like showing love and stuff. So I'll be like, yo, what do you like? What didn't you like? That's the first thing I think of. But at the start, I'm like, this guy's gonna talk to me about talking trophies again for another 30-40 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get it.
And I wasn't embarrassed, but for example, because I'm happy with this, I'm really content. But let's just say someone that does start a business, and they're embarrassed to tell people I'm starting this business. How do you get over that? Because I know you probably did experience that at the start when trying to, like that I don't know, your personality shows that you're pretty confident.
No.
That millisecond, you know, that start little humpy.
Bro, fuck the millisecond. Minutes, days, weeks.
Yeah.
Bro, 100%.
Yeah.
I still, dude, even telling people, because they see, you know, I'm involved in a few NFT projects. When people see my name on a website or like a roadmap, they're like, Dami, like, I'm still new to this NFT space. But the thing is, like, again, you just have to be comfortable with discomfort. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The first girl that you ever approached, right? Were you nervous when you were going to do it?
I don't talk to girls.
Haram, yeah, that's haram. We don't have to talk about that. We don't have to talk about that.
No. We can talk about it.
I mean, were you nervous? Were you nervous when you did it? The first ever, when you were in year 7, year 5, whatever.
I don't know. I just, you know what, I was a bit nervous. I'm like, I knew I had game, but I'm like,
I know you have game, bro.
That's what I'm like, will it work?
Okay. But off rip, the first girl that you were interested in when you were a kid, you saying you weren't nervous. You already knew you had game out the womb.
I didn't even think I approached her, man, for a while.
Okay.
It's like in high school, year 7.
Yeah.
And then I started kicking over. Then I started talking to online and stuff, you know, chatting my game.
Kicking Facebook,
you know what
yeah?
I mean? Bro, I remember like this was like early year 7, so this was like MSN. Like, guys,
Before
no.
What's
This is when MSN was jump, like it was on
jumping.
it was on the downfall, and
Right.
Facebook was on the come up.
Right.
So like I still like, hey, do you have my? It was that. It was in between the switch,
right.
and I used to talk to her on MSN like every night, guys.
Sheesh.
You know, I didn't like her. I just talked to. I used to talk to like 5-6 of them. You know, at school. Like, nah. I talked to 5 or 6 of them, but it wasn't like it was just hey, LOL. Bro,
LOL,
it's serious
yeah.
because you're a kid, you know what I mean?
For sure, of course,
But
of course.
yeah, bro. Like at the start, I was nervous to ask what's your MSN.
Exactly.
But eventually, bro, it's just like you get
Yeah,
comfortable.
yeah. And what the bridge between you doing it and you being uncomfortable was courage,
Yeah.
right? And courage is, in my opinion, because it's, you know, only boys in this room. I mainly talk about boys. Like, as young men, courage is the difference between boys and winners.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. Of course, people are. If I have a basketball practice game tomorrow, if I airball tomorrow, right? Of course, it's gonna be people boo, laughing. Cool. I'm a G. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot it again. And I'm gonna make the next one.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you just have to be courageous. And if you actually tell yourself that you're courageous enough times, eventually you'll believe it.
For someone that starts something, let's just say one of our viewers does start a business, yeah, and it keeps, and I'm asking this question for me personally, when I do start this business, I want to start a business, I want to understand it from someone that has started a business. Let's just say if you keep going through failures and failures, man, like there's some businesses that will fail for 6 years straight, they'll be in the negatives. And then that's when like the green light starts happening and they start going up. What's the mental strategy at that point? You know what I'm talking about? When you're at your lowest lows, and I don't know if you've experienced this, maybe you experienced it during COVID, but those lowest lows, what do you do with like the emotions, and how do you manage that? And how do you manage the mentality? Because all in here, do you know what I'm saying? How would you set that up?
Yeah, honestly, you have to train yourself to become a soldier. And I'll tell you what I mean by this. Your values are determined way before they're needed. So what that means is, for example, let's just say you're at culture. In fact, not even culture. Let's just say you're in the street, right? And someone runs up on you and they take your hat, and let's just say you get in a fight or something. By me being your friend, right? My instinct, right? Because my values are already determined, is to help you. But if my values have not been concreted and I haven't already worked out what my values are, my instinct is going to be to flee. And then I'm going to be indecisive. Should I help him? Should I not? It's the same with business. If you've really gone through the self-development, you've read the books, you've overcome failure, you've reframed it, you really, really know the reason why you're doing what you're doing, no matter how difficult it is, you keep pushing. And I know that sounds really like almost fairy flossy, but if you've truly determined those key characteristics of why you're doing something and who you are, way before that time comes when you need it, then you'll be okay. I'm always tested. I've had bad news for one of my ventures on Friday. Yeah. I still had mentorship calls and I was still working to 10 p.m. standard. And then I went out with the homies. Like you have to keep going, because I have such conviction that if my name is involved in something, it will be successful. And if it's not, then I'll make it. And I think that's just got to be your mindset. Again, you need to look at failure, multiple failures as, bro, like I'm Christian, right? I literally thank God. I literally prayed the other day, God, thank you, God, so much for where I am in my life right now. Thank you, God, for the successes and the progression. Feel free, Lord, to test me and give me more difficulties, and please allow me to overcome them. Who asks for failure? If you're asking for failure and challenges, then you're asking for growth. You can't have one without the other. You can't have your cake and not eat it too. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to be willing. You need failure.
Of course you need failure. And I think even like consistency is key with that failure. Exactly. You got to be consistent.
Exactly.
I think even with us personally, man, we suffer like,
I can
bro, we got the cameras not working, quality's not up there and stuff, bro. This is consistent failure, bro. I think we could have just all put in a couple thousand and bought the same cameras. Do you know what I mean? And I think we will eventually. But like at the same time, bro, like it's just like we do have our own things, you know what I mean, going with us.
Of course.
And with that, man, like let's just say there are podcasts starting. You know, there's heaps of podcasts now in Melbourne.
It's
everywhere.
so competitive, bro.
You know? And I wouldn't say competitive.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it competitive, to be honest. Because no one's like, I don't have this mentality. Of course, I want to be the best podcast. You know? That's competitive. But I want to see other podcasts win. Of
course.
You know
I get what you mean.
I was just at the Ego Expo, bro, you know? And they got a crazy setup for the podcast we had on 2 weeks ago called The Disruption. They got the craziest setup.
Beautiful.
Do you know what I'm saying? But cuz I was over the moon, bro. I'm chilling with them. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Bro,
it's inspiration.
Yeah. And
shout out to Disruption, bro.
you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I'm like, bro, if you need any help, just let me know, bro. I'll do the camera stuff for you if anyone's missing, whatever. And they're like, yeah, bro, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Blah, 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 you know? Because I'm happy with that. And these are the more established podcasts, I'd say. We're not like made, like I'm saying, like we've been around for a year or two.
Yeah,
so
you guys will get there,
we're
bro.
almost up to we're 2 years now.
Yeah, beautiful.
They've been around for 2.5 years, 2 years almost. They've done like 100 and something episodes, 120 episodes. So they've been around for almost a few years. These new upcoming podcasts, for example, everyone thinks we're the cool group. Right? Everyone's got 1,000 followers on Instagram, and they think they're just gonna blow up overnight.
Yeah.
And then when they see their account on like 200, 300, 400, and it's not like, or even just like 150, they think, oh, why isn't my podcast thing? My Instagram's getting 150. Like, I got 1,500, 600 followers. How come they're not converting over? They just get down. They're like, you know what, this is not for me. They do the podcast for 3-4 months and they just give up on it. And I think that's what I can see from what you were explaining. Like with us, we had these failures. We kept getting failures. Every week we've had failures. But we just got this consistency that we just keep coming back. I'm telling you, low-key, bro.
I'm proud of you guys, man. That's so beautiful.
I reckon, Kashan, some people, they're just watching, they're like, Kaz, when this thing gonna end, Kaz? I'm telling you, Kaz.
Bro, from the side, like, okay, let's see how long this is gonna go for.
I reckon, they should chuck on some odds.
Because we know a lot of people that do give up, you know?
Yeah.
And seeing someone that gives up, it makes you feel detrimental. You know?
It does.
Makes you feel like, damn, that could be me, bro.
It does.
If I give up, man, what if I just have my thing shut down, whatever, you know? But
yeah.
One thing about this guy, I tell you, this guy,
he's a hustler, bro. He's a killer.
He's never changed his energy from when this thing first started. It's only grown. It
He's a killer.
Down at all, you know?
I just have fun, Kaz. No, it's not that. I'm too competitive, Kaz.
I love it.
not competitive with others. I'm competitive with
yourself.
with myself. Guys.
I love it.
That's
I
what
love
it is. And I don't know, bro. I got this weird habit. If I start something, I can't finish it.
I get it.
That's why even when I stopped uni for a bit, bro, I was burning.
I get it.
I was burning, bro.
get it.
I'm just
I
like,
get
yo, you know what I mean? It's not for me. Even when I did uni, I don't know, bro. I started uni at 17. I finished
Wow.
at 20.
Wow.
And I like smashed out the 3 years. And I was just chilling for a bit. I'm like, bro, this is too much. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I don't know. It's just a weird habit, because my dad taught us from young. He's like, if you ever start something, make sure you finish it.
Well, your dad raised you right, man.
Oh, homeboy, Pops is built different. Using my dad's camera right there, don't understand.
There you
Hey,
go, man.
give my dad a shout out. That's his
Shout out
camera.
to your dad, man.
Hey, I want to ask you guys before we do wrap up, man.
Sure.
Give us some books, give us some podcasts, give us some things to listen to, man, for people that want to get into this business space. You know, build those communication skills, build those soft skills, you know, build the consistencies and get something started up. Where can they go to? What can they read to get into this space? Besides Gary Vee, because you gave the guy like 4 or 5 mentions before they even think. The guy's not going to even repost this. They give a shout out. Like
I never say never, man. But
hey,
yeah,
the guy's not likely going to repost us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you got to do that to challenge him sometimes. You know
No,
what I mean?
I get
He likes it when people are that, this guy's hating on me. This guy's hating on me. He thinks I'm not going to share his thing. He's like, I'm sharing it right now. How do you like that?
I love it.
But what would you say? Books, podcasts.
For sure.
What can our viewers listen to, read, get into?
Sure,
You know
sure,
what I'm
sure. Books I've read. This is business, but also just persuasion and life. I've read all of Robert Greene's books.
Yeah.
So 48 Laws of Power, Mastery, The 50th Law, which is Robert Greene / 50 Cent, Laws of Seduction by Robert Greene as well. All of his books, 33 Strategies of War, read all of them. Best. He will get Laws of Human Nature by him as well.
I like his books, man, but from reading some of them,
Yeah, be honest. I
It's
know where you're going. Yeah?
okay. When I read books, like I picture the person writing them, and I feel like he's got this approach when he writes his books. It's like it's a manipulating. It's like use and abuse.
And that's fair.
method.
I get what you're
And
saying.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're trying to hustle, man, make it to the top, bro. Ethics. You gotta make.
I don't agree with that, but I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes, some of his approaches is I would consider unethical.
Okay, and
That's
I
all I'd
don't
say.
disagree with that.
Yeah.
This is what I would add to it. I think a lot of what he writes is manipulative. I think it is manipulative. But I think what he was writing the book for is to expose how people have got into positions of power.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think the book was actually encouraging do X, be X.
Yeah.
He's saying this is what worked in the Mao dynasty. This is what worked in Rome. This is what worked in Aphrodite in Greece. This is what works in the present day. He's just telling us what works.
Yeah.
If anything, it's made me more aware of manipulation tactics,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to using them. So I think that's a great way to get started for you to be aware of how the world works and the cogs and machines involved.
Yeah.
That's why.
So that's something someone starting the books has to look at the book. Like
It's
read the
just to understand how humans work.
because that's how I read it. You know what I mean? Like I read it in a certain way. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna gain as much skills as I can off them
Gotcha.
that I feel like I'll benefit from.
Gotcha.
I don't read books for the sake of like, bro, if I want to read that, I read like autobiographies and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I gotcha.
But when I read those books, I'm like, yo, what skills can I gain from these books and understandings can I gather from these books that I can use in my life?
For sure.
That's how I always read.
And I love that. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want skills, then for sales, I can definitely mention, Chris Voss's book. I forgot the name of that,
Chris
but
Voss is a
he's an FBI negotiator. He had a great sales books.
Yeah.
Obviously, the classic Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's not bad. I'd say it's okay. It's a great way to start if you want to do business, entrepreneurship. Emotional Intelligence 2.0. I think emotional intelligence is key in life, in general, in relationships, in business, in success. Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Because if you can control your own emotions, you can help resonate and empathize with other people. And empathy really leads the way to success,
100%.
especially when leading teams.
Yeah.
When it comes to podcasts, I love The Roommates for young men. You guys heard of The Roommates?
Is it the blue one? It have a blue logo? Like a blue
No, it has a red logo
Okay,
with
no.
like a chair in it, but they're in the US.
Okay.
A lot of podcasts, man. Shit.
Probably the Gary Vee, I'm assuming.
I don't watch Gary Vee as much because I drained it too quickly.
Okay.
I abused it when I was a kid. I abused it.
Yeah.
Look, anything that first of all teaches you how to reframe your thinking. Because I think what helped me is I spent the first year when I was 17 just watching TED Talks before I actually started my Instagram, YouTube thing. So my brain was reframing the way I perceive money.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have weird relationships with money. That's why a lot of people don't like capitalism but are working a job. Or love capitalism and think they're going to be rich, but they don't actually understand how to work smart rather than hard.
Yeah.
So anything that is within the realm of training you how to think as a more effective human being, that will get you into business over time. I truly believe
What
that.
do they say about money comes and goes? Knowledge is forever.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a fact. knowledge is forever. That's a fact.
Mm.
That's a fact.
Money you just got to see as an asset. That's what
Oh,
you got to see
dude,
it
it's
as. You know
paper
what I mean?
trail, man. It's
That's
just
all it is. It's like a car. It's like a house, whatever it is. It's just an
Exactly.
asset you use. You can get it to appreciate. You know, you can invest it and it will appreciate in value, or you just spend it and it depreciates.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
100%.
I've got a question.
Okay.
What do you reckon? Who would you say? They don't have to be famous. They can even be from your local community too. You know?
Sure.
But who would you say are your top 3 mentors, or people that taught you a lot? People that you would say they left a mark on you with that like forever, like you appreciate what they gave you. Something that they left something, there is still something within you.
I have to think about this. This might sound a bit corny, but to be honest, Kendrick Lamar, man. To be honest, like when I was one of the only black kids, you know, at my year level, year 7, year 8, like Kendrick really made me feel at home in a weird way, man. I feel like I'll meet him one day, so I'm excited for that day to come. So Kendrick's up there, just as a black man trying to win in life. Who else? A few others. I have to think, man.
And Kendrick, and like, cuz you're talking about Kendrick too, bro. I saw Kendrick's like real estate and stuff, bro. This guy's not a big spender, man.
Yeah, he's not.
He's a big
Kendrick.
investor.
He's not materialistic. Yeah.
Nah, he's not.
Him, J. Cole, they just don't. They're just there for the sake. Like they use money as an asset. It's just there, money in your hand, not your heart.
Ooh, pause, man. Man, honestly, there's so many. It's kind of hard to pick just 3. But Ty Lopez helped a lot with me starting the business. I wouldn't say he was one of my favorite mentors, so to speak. But if it wasn't for me watching Ty's videos at 18, I would not. I don't even know if I would have started in marketing. And that's a big reason why I'm involved in all the things I'm involved now. So for the sake of this conversation, I'll put Ty up in there. I like Jordan Peterson a lot. You guys heard of Jordan Peterson?
That's a big call. That's a big call.
You don't like Jordan Peterson?
That's a big call.
You don't like him?
It's outside the camera, too. That's a big call.
What's your opinion on Jordan Peterson?
Personally,
Honestly,
I disagree with some of his views.
Absolutely,
To
yeah.
be honest, especially early on, he had his views on even Islam as a Muslim. He had like views on thing, and then he ended up doing it. But the thing I like about Jordan Peterson is he's willing to change his views if corrected.
I agree with that.
That's something I admire in him. I think people paint him to be this like demonic right wing. Even what they did with Captain America, I think that was a bit that was actually too far.
Yeah.
And what I'd say is he's actually a great. Personally, I believe he's a good guy to listen to for young people to an extent. To an extent, because there are some things he teaches young guys that it's like, I don't know, man. It's
Such
like,
as, like, what do you think?
He's like, make yourself a beast, and then like that's his famous one. Make yourself a beast,
An attained
and
monster,
then
something like that. Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you attain yourself while becoming a beast? That's what I thought of it. Like, you know what I mean? Develop yourself as much as you can, but while developing it, see, okay, this is my flaws. Let me work on it. Push yourself up. Okay, these are my, you know what I'm saying? So while you're doing it, that's one thing I try to do.
Gotcha. And it shows, man. Like, that's why you guys are doing what you're doing.
Like not, for example, with me, it was with anger, bro. I get angry and I hold like, Sean knows, I hold grudges. And like at the start, if I act like a thing, I just get angry, really built up, and I just hold it in. So like that's one thing I try to attain as much as I can. And I think Jordan Peterson is great in what he does, man. To be honest, and big ups to him. And I think he's a great mentor for you to have.
Yeah, well, the
And
thing
I
is,
just think he's I don't know what.
and I get that. That's a very
for
fair
example,
criticism.
There's a very liberal. They have this energy against him. Like they say he's a demonic. He's a right winger. He's teaching young guys to be this. But personally, I believe Jordan Peterson. You know, he has his methods. For sure.
Yeah. And look, when it comes to Jordan Peterson, I've read all of his books. Yeah. So I definitely do not agree with everything that he says.
Yeah.
Because I've read his old stuff before 12 Rules for Life and his newer stuff, 12 More Rules.
Yeah.
For me, what I like about Jordan Peterson, though, is that for young men, in a world that's becoming extremely feminized, and I know we're not going to talk about this too much for this podcast because it's a whole other conversation. I know me and you could talk about this.
You're trying to get my podcast cancelled. It's cancelled out here, man.
But yeah, just in a world where men are very effeminized, and you know, also women are looking for masculine inspirations. I think Jordan Peterson is restoring a lot of direction for a lot of men in the West. That I think is necessary at this point in time, whether all of his views are correct or not.
I could agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Who else would you say? Last.
Sheesh, man. It's tough. There's so many, man.
It is. Because you said you had so many. You don't.
Okay, well, look,
We're
'cause
giving you a
different
bonus
reasons. I'll give you another example. Like, I'm Christian, but I've read about Baha'i. I've read about Islam. I've read about Zora. I forgot how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've purposely expanded my brain to look at other methods of thinking, right? But I genuinely find, like, religion aside, I find Jesus very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, as someone that can, again, provide direction to living a very well-balanced life. Because balance is something that I worked on. Like, I burnt out. We didn't talk about my detox last year, but, you know, I got extremely sick after, you know, going on a 3-month detox, staying away from women, clubbing, music. I didn't listen to music for 3 months.
Yeah.
I ended up vomiting after, like, 10 times a day. Like, I pushed myself. So,
What was it? Why'd you stop vomiting? You had an exorcism or what?
nah, bro. I dragged it, man. I worked too hard. Honestly, 16-hour day. I still do those kind of hours, but I just make sure I get good sleep.
Yeah.
I was working out at 2 a.m., saying I proposals at 4 a.m. It was
Okay.
disgusting.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I learned my lesson. But Jesus, I guess, would be a mentor. But for me, mentors are very difficult because there's different things in different people that I take out of them.
I could see how you see Jesus as a mentor. Even us as Muslims, man, we see Jesus as a mentor. He has characteristics, you know what I mean?
Because in Islam, he's the prophet as opposed to... Yeah, so I get what you're saying.
Yeah, we do believe in the return of Jesus. But, yeah, man, we see him, like, just his character, you know, even, like, for example, the mercy he had on people, the forgiveness he had on people.
Correct.
You know, and that's something we do as Muslims admire about him.
Exactly.
You know, and we do believe in the coming of Jesus. He will return one day.
I respect your opinion.
Okay, please.
I didn't say anything outside that, but yeah, man, Jesus
Jesus is definitely
What
up
do you
there.
see, like, for example, us as Muslims, we see him as a prophet.
For sure.
You know? Let's get a bit religious here. We don't
Sure,
want to, but
absolutely. No, we
like,
can
what
go
do
there
you-
for sure.
from your experience, I'm not talking about a Christian.
Okay.
I'm saying your experience, like, and why would he be a mentor for you?
Sure. So
Also, to add on that, you mentioned before about how you make prayer saying, "Oh,
I asked for pain.
use
ask
God,
for struggle. Yeah.
use religion as a way to help you get through things and also to help you progress and develop your character."
Correct.
So just to add on to that question, yeah.
Correct. Well, this is my fundamental reasoning for believing in Christianity. Science aside, biblical readings aside, right? In the Old Testament, it talks about how we're all made in God's image, right? God created the universe or the world in 7 days, whether that's in 7 days, biblical time, or 7 days in whatever, all that aside. If we're made in his image, right, that means we all have a creator instinct in us, right, to build, to create beautiful things in the world, to see things in our brain come into the physical, right? I think such a big drive for me, which is why I think I've developed a little bit of business ADD and that bit of angst to, like, always keep going and reach my potential, is because as a Christian, I know for a fact that I have so much creator energy in me also. So if God declares that we're made in his image and we all have these fragments, so to speak, of his kind of energy and his power, I think that separates us from animals. I think that separates us from the aliens, if there's aliens out there, or you know, other beings. So I think the fact that we can create mental things and bring them into the physical is such a clear sign that we're beings and not just flesh. And I think, again, even though I've read about multiple religions, I think, based on that doctrine of thought, that at this point in time, at 22 years old, Christianity makes the most sense for me without going into the depths of the science. Because there's for and against for every single religion. I actually think Islam, when it comes to relationships, has actually a lot more strong-willed and firm value systems that work better in a falling Western world than Christianity. You know what I mean? So I see a lot of benefits, and I've been meditating for 5 years, which sinks into the Buddhist and Hindu. So, like, I see benefits in many things, but at present, based on that doctrine of thought, Christianity is where I'm leading at the moment, if that makes sense.
Should I start spitting some dawah? Should I start spitting some dawah? Yeah, definitely. I can see why you believe that and how you have Jesus as a mentor. Before we do wrap up,
Sure.
let me show you the light of Islam. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, guys.
Thanks for another hour podcast.
I know. Hey, part 2 of Talking Trophies. We're just going to jump into the deen. But I'd say before we do wrap up, give us 5 tips for some of our younger viewers, you know, that want to jump into the business world. You gave us a bunch of tips during this, but give us 5 that you can think off the top of your head that some of our viewers do need to better themselves. Whether it's for business, life, whatever. Just 5 good tips.
Be disagreeable. Be disagreeable, especially for young men. That's 1. Have audacity, which means be willing to actually do something that scares you, right? Approaching women, starting a business, doing something scary, embarrassing. Have audacity. Be consistent. And that's easier said than done, but make it, especially if it's a new habit, like the first 6 weeks, like, this is, okay, there's this thing called NLP, which is called neuro-linguistic programming. I'm not going to talk about it at length because we need to wrap up this podcast. I know your microphone's nearly dead. But basically, it's where you create a psychological anchor in your brain with something. Like, let's just say I touch this wall once, and I associate me touching this wall with, if I don't make 50 shots today for basketball, if I touch this wall, that means I can't watch TV for the rest of the night. That's NLP, right? So you're creating an anchor that's going to hold you accountable, right? When I did a detox, I went to the poorest parts of the CBD, and I told myself, Dami, if you don't do this detox successfully, you'll end up like them. Now, people might say that's extreme. It is very extreme. It is extreme. But again, you want to be consistent. You might not have to go that far. I dragged it a little bit, but you have to really create anchors in your brain that are going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
So that's 3. 4, invest in self-development. I read over 60 books in 2020 and did over 30 courses online, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I've had a history sometimes of getting sick by dragging it, but in 2020 alone, because of all the personal development that I just injected into my brain, double speeding audiobooks so I could read them and learn them and taking notes, my brain was exposed to so many different things at once, which allowed me to connect them together and create a synthesis of knowledge, right? So self-development is key. Invest in self-development. And 5, enjoy the journey. Like, it sounds corny as hell, but honestly, like, yeah, like, I still got a long way to go. Yeah, I'm arguably comfortable, but man, like I said, I'm happy that I face pain voluntarily every day. I need that bit of fear. I need that bit of anxiety. I need it. And being willing to enjoy that process is so fun. I truly find it fun, and I'm very grateful to God for that.
That's tough, man. I hope you guys benefited from those 5 tips and the rest of the podcast episode. We did want to start with an interview, but we ended up going towards a podcast. And check out Dami's social medias, #TheBallerpreneur.
Sir.
Check his stuff up, man. He's got his social media agency. You're starting to run your club soon. So good luck with that. Once with the launch as well and doing the NFT, that's a big jump, and I'm hoping for the best for you with that.
Appreciate it.
And make sure you guys do subscribe, share our videos around. Check this out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and other streaming platforms. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Stay humble. Faith.
See, I'm trying to call me and all, but it's only one to me. If I came in this world alone, why I get lonely? Can someone come unthaw my heart? I think it's frozen.